As a, as a young citizen of India, armed with technology, knowledge, and love for my nation, with a vision of transforming India into a developed nation, I'm joining Shobhit University. What about you?
Very good morning to all the participants from India and abroad. Shobhit Institute of Engineering and Technology, Meerut, a NAC accredited A-grade deemed to be university, and its Centers of Excellence, Agricultural Informatics and E-Governance Research Studies, and Center for Agribusiness and Disaster Management Studies extend greetings to all the participants from India and abroad who are attending today's national webinar series on doubling farmers' income by 2022, Atmanirbhar Bharat in Agriculture. This webinar is being hosted on every Thursday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Today is the 13th April 2023. The webinar is on very important topic, organic farming, key to doubling farmers' income. On behalf of the Honorable Chancellor, Honorable Vice Chancellor, the faculty members of the university, and on my behalf, and as Professor Emeritus and Chairman of the Centers of Excellence, Center for Agricultural Informatics and E-Governance Research Studies, Center for Agribusiness and Disaster Management Studies, Center for Informatics Development Solutions and Application, Center for Industry 4.0 Technology Studies and Application, and Center for Health Informatics and Computing. Let me welcome today's guest speaker, Mr. Dorairaj, Kuppurangam, and Honorable Vice Chancellor of the Telangana Horticulture Agriculture University, Dr. Neeraja Prabhakar. And to the today's program. Today is the 111th edition of this national two webinar series, national webinar series on doubling farmers' income by 2022 on every Thursday, and international webinar series on open source digital technology towards self-reliant India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, on every Saturday. And under this, so far we have conducted 110 webinars on very important topic. To start with, role of agriculture cooperative societies and e-governance, blockchain technology-based fishery value chain, a self-contained village, a felt need of the day, spices informatics network value chain, lantana camera, a camouflaged treasure trove, smart hill agriculture, Mera mobile, Mera marketing, integrated mariculture, aquaponics and precision agriculture for income revolution, smart tribal agriculture optimizing value chain, digital agri-tech and industry perspective, land resources information system in India, present and road ahead, weather decision technologies for increasing farm income, big data in smart farming, sustainable soil and land management for climate smart agriculture, understanding market dynamics for increasing farm income, role of technologies in mitigating crop risk, how to generate additional profit via simple, attractive approaches in farm produce, adoption of flexi rubber check dam technology, potential benefit for farmers in rainfall and coastal agro ecosystem, realizing the economic benefits of agroforestry, Octasol organic humic solutions for increasing crop yields and quality while increasing farm and improving soil health, closing the nutrient loop, phosphorus management in protein farming, improving nutrient use efficiency and farm productivity, artificial intelligence enabled pest management technology for agriculture crop protection without pesticides, smart poultry monitoring solutions, agro biodiversity, intellectual property laws, agriculture and farmers' welfare, and insight into the issues for Indian agrarian economy, manufacture and application of biochar for increased soil fertility and crop productivity, sustainable integration of livestock with agriculture for farm income increase, role of geographical indications on improving farmers' income, lessons from Asia Pacific region, dairy informatics network value chain, a dairy tech startup perspective for farmers' income increase, spices informatics network value chain, a turmeric startup perspective for farmers' income increase, generating sustainable on-farm income through fintech intervention, nutrition sensitive agriculture pathway for increasing farmer income, artificial intelligence and data analytics to ensure optimal nutrition in the soil, harvested food that minimizes human disease, bioenergy supply chain, a business opportunity for rural enterprises and farmer produce organization. Tech enabling India's tech-starved farmers for manifold increase in productivity and income. Open insurance ecosystem for agriculture produce risk management solutions to overcome repercussions on farmers' income, market stability, and food safety. And I would like to also tell about the last 5 webinars which we conducted, and it is pay agri market linkage to farmers through digitalized agri value chain, jackfruit informatics network value chain, doubling farmers income, brown revolution and sweet revolution, land policy farming reform for doubling farm income, smart tribal farming step towards operationalization of doubling farmers income by 2022 committee recommendations in Jawad Hills, Tamil Nadu, digital health informatics network value chain in tribal village, case study from Palkar district, Maharashtra. Village cooperatives, a proven model to elevate farmer from their poverty. And today is the 111th edition of this national webinar series, which will be addressed by Mr. Dorairaj, Kuppurangam, President, International Cooperation Competence Center for Organic Agriculture, Bengaluru, former Vice President, Rallis India Limited, Chennai, on a very important topic, organic farming, key to doubling farmers' income. To develop any sector of economy, a nation essentially needs 4 main synchronized intervention, namely enabling policy environment, state-of-the-art technologies, financing mechanism, and entrepreneurship capacity. India is said to be a land of villages. Acharya Vinoba Bhave said, India is largely an agrarian country, agricultural country, and a country of villages, having more than 6.25 lakh villages. Agriculture sector is the foundation of the Indian economy. Farmers of India are facing multi-dimensional problems: price fluctuation, debt, and lack of infrastructure and weather. Indian farming community comprises of about 14.5 crores operational holdings, according to the agriculture census to 2015-16, and of which 85% of the farmers have small and marginal size operational holdings. Farmer needs timely, location specific, and personalized information for effective control on their production, risk, and then market their produce to identified market opportunities. Many national level programs, be it Digital India 2015, Make in India 2015, and Skill India 2015, Startup India 2015, and Stand Up India 2015, have faced operational difficulties for its impact at farm level and farmer level, that too at small and marginal farmers. That we have the recommendation of the Dr. Ashok Dalwai Committee report on doubling farmers' income by 2022, report 2018. I have been closely associated with this committee and for 2 volumes, volume 11 and volume 12b. Volume 12b talks about digital technology in agriculture. This takes the the recommendation and practices from 1987 up to 2016 on IT in agriculture. The main recommendations of this is digitalized agriculture, digital technology and innovation in agriculture, synergizing of Digital India, Make in India, Skill India, Startup India programs for transformational reforms in agriculture sector, smart irrigated farming, smart rainfed farming, and smart tribal farming. Digitalized agromet advisories and agricultural risk management solutions, and digitalized agricultural resources information system and micro level planning for achieving smart village and smart farming. Digitalized value chain for about 400 agriculture commodities. Digitalized access to inputs, technology, knowledge, skill, agricultural finance, credit, marketing, and agri-business management to farmers. Digitalized integrated land and water management, and digitalized farm health management for reduction of farmer loss. This includes farmer health, plant health, animal health, soil health, water health, fish health, and environmental health. And the committee also talks about that the need for networking of cooperative societies and the digitalization of all agriculture primary cooperative societies. And we also have Atmanirbhar Bharat. This is the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, for making India a self-reliant nation, rested on 5 I's: intent, inclusion, investment, infrastructure, and innovation. And we also have Amrit Call led up to 100. That is for the next 25 years, how India should undertake, revolutionary steps. And this is inclusive in nature, and it is complementing the macroeconomic level growth focus with a microeconomic level, all inclusive welfare focus. And we it also have a blueprint for Amrit Kaal, which is futuristic and inclusive. Indian budget 2023-24 prioritize 7 principles. It's called Saptarishi priorities. And it also talks about a digital public infrastructure for agriculture, which will be built on open source, open standard, and interoperable public good. And also, this will help farmer-centric solutions for crop planning. And this budget is also a landmark first step towards Modi's government's commitment towards net zero 2070. And this budget also has tried to revolutionize this sector for encouraging agri startup and natural farming. We have 17 sustainable development goals and 169 targets to be achieved. Today's topic is organic farming, key to doubling farmers' income. In this webinar, we had the following topics related to the subject: doubling the income of farmer through eco-agri revolution. Doubling the income of farmers through eco-agri revolution by Padma Shri Dr. M.H. Mehta, President, Science Ashram, Baroda, and Chairman, Gujarat Life Sciences Private Limited, and former Vice Chancellor, Gujarat Agricultural University. Organic spices cultivation for doubling of farmers' income in Northeast region of India, value chain analysis by Dr. Ram Singh, Professor Agricultural Economics of the Central University, Meghalaya, Imphal. And Subhash Palekar, Natural Farming, Future of Farming, Rooted in Indian Tradition by Padma Shri Subhash Palekar. And in the international webinar series, we had the talk Organic and Natural Farming, Certifications and Way Forward by Dr. Gagnesh Sharma, Director, National Center for Organic and Natural Farming. Agroecological and Sustainable Agriculture. Agroecology farmers practice sustainable farming tactics that focus on protecting natural resources and land while yielding as much crop as possible. Small and local farms generally use agroecological practices to ensure they protect their land and the environment while producing natural, organic, and sustainable crops. Farmers who are focused on agroecology and sustainable agriculture will attract more consumers when they practice humane and healthy practices. Agroecological farming is key to a sustainable future. Budget 2023, it is a boost to natural farming. It has announced that the government will assist 1 crore farmer transition to natural, that is, or chemical ballast farming over the next 3 years. Natural farming in India has been growing rapidly in recent years as consumers have become more aware of the benefits of consuming healthy and chemical balanced food. And natural farming and organic farming know the difference and similarities. Natural farming is a method in which agricultural practices are guided by natural laws. This strategy works in tandem with the natural biodiversity of each farmed area, allowing the complexity of living species, both the flora and fauna, that create each ecosystem to thrive alongside food plants. Organic farming is a holistic approach that aims to maximize the production and fitness of diverse communities in the agroecosystems, such as soil organism, plants, livestock, and people. The primary purpose of agro-organic farming is to create business that are both sustainable and environmentally friendly. Similarities between organic and natural farming: both the natural and organic farming methods are chemical free and to a large extent poison free. Both the systems restrict farmers using chemical fertilizer, and pesticides on plants, as well as from engaging in any other agriculture practices. Farmers are encouraged to use local seed breeds and native cultivars of vegetables, cereals, legumes, as well as other crops in both the farming methods. Non-chemical and homemade pest control solutions are promoted by organic and natural farming methods. The difference between organic and natural farming: organic fertilizers and manures such as composite, vermicomposite, and cow dung manure are utilized and applied to farmlands in organic farming. Natural farming do not use chemical or organic fertilizer on the soil. In reality, no additional nutrients are put into the soil or given to plants. There are numerous successful natural farming methods across the world, but in India, the zero budget natural farming model is the most prevalent. Padma Shri Subhas Palekar developed this complete natural and spiritual farming systems. And eco farming revolution: food is taste and nourishment. Food is family and culture. Food is science, identity, and religion. Food is connection. But do we know our food comes from? How it is grown and by whom? The answer is a revolution in ecological farming. Regenerative agriculture is a conservation and rehabilitation approach to food and farming systems. It focuses on topsoil regeneration, increasing biodiversity, improving water cycle, enhancing ecosystem services, supporting biosequestration, increasing resilience to climate change, and strengthening the health and vitality of farm soil. Regenerative agriculture is based on various agriculture and ecological practices, and permaculture is a design science. The main difference between permaculture and a farm is the energy cycle. A farm is an energy source, whereas a permaculture site creates a energy loop. And according to the latest announcement by our Honorable Union Home and Cooperation Minister, Honorable Shri Amit Shah, he said on 19th March 2023, national cooperative societies on organic farming will export. That national level multi-state cooperative societies recently approved by the Union Cabinet for promotion of organic products and exports. This will help farmers' income manifold in next 10 years. Let us now turn to the address by Mr. Dorairaj Kuppurangam, President, International Competence Center for Organic Agriculture, Bengaluru, and former Vice President, Rallis India Limited, on a very important topic: organic farming, key to doubling farmers' income. Today's topic will motivate, galvanize the participants watching our telecast through facebook.com/Shobhit University India, or youtube.com/Shobhit University In, or linkedin.com/company/Shobhit-University for establishing startups, that is physical plus digital infrastructure on organic farming, in association with International Competence Center on Agriculture, organic agriculture, facilitating agriculture and rural transformation in India's village. Let us unlock the opportunities in India at the earliest. Let me introduce the guest speaker, Mr. Manish. Mr. Dorairaj Kuppurangam has 54 years of service in agricultural field at various levels, which included 3 years Agriculture Extension Officer, Tamil Nadu Agriculture Department, 30 years Sales and Marketing of Agro Inputs in Tata Rallis with headquarters at Chennai, Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Kolkata, and Mumbai. He was Vice President of Tata Rallis when he left the company in 2001. 12 years he worked as the CEO of APOF, Organic Certification Agency, Bangalore, and carried out inspection and certification of organic projects in Assam, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu. Conducted a number of training programs on organic certification procedures for the Agricultural Department officials, Horticulture Department officials in Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu, apart from officers of NABARD. Conducted a number of training programs on ICS procedures for farmers group. and issued organic certificates for organic production, processing, trading, and handling from AOCA. Mr. Dorairaj has written the quality manual, operating manual, and templates, checklist, etc., and completed all other formalities for application to APIDA for accreditation. He is now Technical Director, Regional Council for Participatory Guarantee System for Organic Certification, PGS India certification at Vellore, Tamil Nadu, and also a resource person for conducting training program in organic for the Regional Center for Natural Organic Farming, Bengaluru. Mr. Dorairaj is the president of International Competence Center for Organic Farming, Bangalore, and a consultant to OPEX Holdings, Colombo, Sri Lanka, for their organic input projects. With this, let me invite Mr. Dorairaj Kuppurangam to participate in the national webinar series on doubling farmers' income by 2022, in the 111th edition, to talk on organic farming, key to doubling farmers' income. Today. Over to Mr. Dorairaj Kuppurangam. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Moni. You have given a very interesting start for the session, because you have covered almost everything which anybody could talk on organic farming, because everything has been covered, and the 110 meetings which are conducted on this subject also is adding up to this. And then this 111th edition is one of the part of the whole thing, because to make one 747 Boeing aircraft, they say that you require about 3 million parts. Only after assembling 3 million parts, one 747 is ready. Like that, organic farming in India, to be in full shape, it has to get all the kinds of subjects what you have talked, including the digital media and everything. So in organic farming, to double farmers' income, arithmetically it may not double it, but it is definitely going to improve organic farmers' income one way or other. Next slide. Let us look at the Indian agricultural landscape. The gross area sown is about 198 million hectares. The net area sown is 140 million hectares. That is, our cropping intensity is 1.42 times. That's why we get about 198, and we are almost equal to China. They are also having similar area, and we are number one, or they are number one. It depends upon every year's statistics. And then the total farm holdings, if you take, it's about 143 million farm holdings. That is 14 crore worth of 14 crore people or households are in agriculture. And then the marginal farmers, that is, marginal farmer is a person who is having less than 1 hectare, and smallholder is 1 to 2 hectares. Medium holder is 2 to 10 hectares, and the large farmers are over 10 hectares size. So the marginal and small holdings alone will take about 65% of the total holdings of this area. And these are the people who do not get all the resources that is required for getting high productivity and profitability in agriculture. The large farmers, of course, they get so many resources like credit and then inputs and then technology, everything. But it is for the small holders, this kind of meetings is going to help. Organic farming will help people who are not having all the resources, these 65% of the farmer, plus all those people who are in the dryland areas and non-irrigated areas, orchards and various other places where there is a great scope for organic agriculture. Because in the dam area, for example, the command areas of Kaveri Delta or other area, Tungabhadra, all these areas, they have got assured water supply and then their cropping is okay. But in the 65 to 70% of the area where they are dependent on total rainfall, they have to look for better agricultural practices. Organic agriculture practice is one of the important thing which these farmers have to adopt to improve their profitability and then their productivity. Dr. Moni was also telling about various parameters. He was also mentioning about Shobhit's report, and they have also identified 7 parameters in that report, that these are the things which will help improving the farmers' welfare. In that, 3 or 4 things are coming under organic agriculture very much, but because productivity is one thing which we are looking at, and then reduction of cost of production has to come down. Let us look at cost of production. Today, our farmers are totally dependent on chemical inputs, fertilizers. Huge amount of fertilizers are being used in agriculture, and people are not able to meet both ends, because once you spend too much on chemical fertilizers and pesticides, there is not much left for the farmers. Once they go to the market and sell their produce, they do not even get the amount of inputs they have spent on agriculture. For example, let me tell you the urea case. Urea, the international price today is about $430 or $440 per ton. It comes to about 35,000 rupees. It would be the same cost for the factories who are manufacturing urea in this country also, because all the countries are getting their raw material from the international market only. They need natural gas, they need naphtha and various other fuel and basic raw material. In the production of urea, if it is about 35,000 rupees, 80% of it is the raw material cost. These raw materials are scarce in India, and we are importing the whole thing. When we are selling close to 350 lakh tons of urea in this country, because all the farmers, the first thing they will go for is urea application in their field, because urea is available in India at a very cheap rate, because it is heavily subsidized. Once it is 35,000 rupees in the international market, in India we are giving it at almost 3,500 rupees a ton. Sorry, 5,300 rupees a ton. Balance 25 to 30,000 rupees is subsidy. That is for 1 ton, I'm saying. But look at 350 lakh tons. So much subsidy has to be given. For urea alone, the government of India is spending about 1.25 lakh crores of rupees on subsidy, or 1.75 lakh, I would say, 1.75 lakh crores. And then there are other fertilizers also, not only urea. There is DAP, there is superphosphate, and various other fertilizers, compound fertilizers, complex fertilizers. All put together, there are about 22 fertilizers in the fertilizer control order of Government of India. These 22 varieties of fertilizer are being widely used, and for all these things, depending upon their nutrient content, Government of India is subsidizing them. And that subsidy, total subsidy for this year, the Government of India has put in about 2.25 lakh crores. That is 2.25 trillion rupees is spent only on subsidy. And there is the other part. The farmer has to pay the balance amount. After the subsidy, they have to, in urea it's heavily subsidized, but in DAP, the subsidy is not that much. Diammonium phosphate, if the farmer goes to the shop, 2 years back or 3 years back, it was 700 rupees one bag of 50 kg. 50 kg bag was 700 rupees. Today, you go to the market and you ask for the same DAP, it is 1,400 rupees one bag. It has almost doubled. All the inputs, if they are doubling like this, are the farmers' produce doubling in the market? No. The maximum they could expect is about 10% increase over last year or something like that. Or sometimes it is static, or Most of the time, it will go down also.
Sir, your slide is not moving. Are you?
No.
Okay.
Let me finish
Okay.
this, because
Okay.
when I came to this cost of fertilizer, I was
Okay.
just dwelling on that. Other things are,
Okay.
I will
Okay.
look at. I'm looking at that. Thank you, sir. So this urea, DAP, and all that, it's heavy cost, and then farmer is not able to spend so much. For a bag of DAP, 1,400 rupees, and potash also is about 1,000 and odd. Like that, if you calculate all his input cost, whether it is hybrid seeds or fertilizers and all the chemical pesticides also we are using very lavishly in the country. This is one of the largest producer of pesticides. We are producing close to about 60,000 crore worth of pesticides. Out of that, 30,000 crores we are exporting to other countries, and the balance 30,000 crore is used in this country. And all these costs go on the head of the farmer, and he is not able to sustain in agriculture because of the input costs. Organic agriculture is one thing which will help him to reduce the cost of cultivation of this thing. That's why when I came to the cost, I just jumped into all those things. Next slide. So the major benefits of organic farm is cost saving on inputs. That's what I explained so far. Then conservation of natural resources, because conservation, in this case, natural resources are our soil, water, and all other natural resources are conserved in organic farming, because pollution of ecosystem, water, and soil is very heavy in the chemical farming. Wherever you go, when you put more nitrogen and phosphate, it just leaches off and then spreads into the water bodies, to the wells and then ponds, and everywhere the heavy nitrogen is depositing. The quality of water is destroyed. And then in your soil also, we need, the soil has to be very fertile. If the soil has to be fertile, it should have so much of microbes in that. Then only it will be called fertile. So that soil is also spoiled because of huge amount of chemical deposition. Then next benefit is diversification of crops. Crop diversification is one important function in organic farming. It's not only crop diversification, it is also diversification of farming into animal husbandry, poultry, and then fisheries, permaculture, as Dr. Moni was saying. So all these things will give additional income to the farmer. Then the biodiversity. Biodiversity has to be there, because otherwise, if you are doing only monoculture and all that, it will invite a lot of pests and diseases. A diversified crop system, and there is diversified bushes and trees and around in the farm, will harbor birds, beneficial insects, honeybees, butterfly, everything. They are also one way or other helping us in controlling pests and diseases. So we have to have a biodiversity. Apart from that, the soil also is enriched by some leguminous trees when they deposit the nitrogen into the soil, and they are also binding the soil. Then additional income, I already told you that due to diversification of crops and animal husbandry, you get all these things. Then premium on organic produce. Once you produce organic, there are people ready to buy organic produce at a premium. Today, whole world, if you look at the world statistics of organic food, about $188 billion worth of organic food is sold in the world market. $188 billion. Out of that, US alone is consuming about $60 billion. Europe is consuming about $50 billion. Then comes China, Australia, and various other countries, Japan. All these countries are having it. There is huge demand for organic. Why suddenly this organic has come into prominence? It is in the last 20 years. we have been seeing rise in consumption of organic food. Many people are complaining that food is not safe these days. Physical admixtures and adulterations we have been seeing, that a lot of people put stones or wrong seeds and other things, that is duping us with the wrong particles. That is physical adulteration. But there are also other ways of contamination of food through pesticides, fertilizers, and then through hormones, and through vaccines, and through GMOs, genetically modified organisms, and irradiation. And these are all the things, which are contaminating. If you look at each and everything separately, pesticides, if you look, any vegetable you buy in the market will have some kind of pesticide deposit, toxic residue will be there, because it is only 2% of the total 140 million hectares are under organic. Not 2%, about 2 million hectares. Other 2 million hectares are forest produce. So totally 4 million hectares have been certified under organic certification. Out of that, 2 million is coming from agriculture. So out of 140 million acres of net area sown, only 2 million hectares are under organic as of now. The whole world, if you look at, it is about 175 million hectares. Out of that, it's only 2 million hectares in India we have so far come to this thing. Why is that? So much slow progress. This organic National Program of Organic Production, NPOP, was introduced in the year 2001. Also almost now 22 years over, and still we are slowly progressing in organic. But if there is a compulsion, if there is only under compulsion, people will just get into organic. For example, if you look at Cuba, in 1958, they had a problem that they were a big sugar producing country. In their sugarcane area, they were selling all their sugar to US and all that. US banned the import from Cuba in 1958. Immediately they turned their eyes towards the communist bloc, and they went to Russia and various other communist countries, and they helped them. So from 1958 to almost 88 to 89, almost 30 years, the Russian bloc, USSR, was helping Cuba in procuring their sugar and giving them enough petroleum, pesticides, fertilizers, and various other items. They were having too much of dollars, and Cuban farmers were very happy at that time. But in 88-89, when USSR collapsed and disintegrated, again they were put into problem and they were exposed. There was no buyer for Cuban sugar. So what else they can do? They were just looking around. Nobody was supporting them. US is also not supporting. Russia is also not supporting. And then they said, okay, we will go to organic farming. We don't have fertilizers. We don't have pesticides. We don't have fuel oil. And everything we have to procure from outside only. And we don't have that much funds. So we will now learn to produce our own food. That's what they said. And then immediately they started organic farming or natural farming in their own country. Within 4 or 5 years, there was a dramatic change. People have completely converted to natural farming, and today they are one of the best producers of biofertilizers and biopesticides also. They have turned around, and they in the middle 4 or 5 years they were under famine actually after 1988, but they recovered from that and they did all right. That is a planned way they did. All the scientists put their full support on organic and natural farming, and they did it. But look at Sri Lanka. What has happened? They didn't have funds. The next day they said organic farming. That is not correct. In India, at least for the last 20 years, we are training our farmers. We are making them ready to take over. And that much they were aware of it. in Cuba also, they were given opportunity to learn and then do that. So suddenly, if you cannot change people to organic, and that was told as a failure and all that. It was not organic. They didn't have funds to buy chemical fertilizers, so they said go for organic. That is not the way. But anyhow, organic farming needs a lot of training and exposure and all that. India has been put to that kind of training and opportunities. We have done very good in that side. But why we have not moved from that 4 million, 2 million hectares or something like that is simultaneously we are getting subsidized fertilizers. When something is available, why should anybody go for difficult thing like organic agriculture? That's how farmer thinks. It is convenient for them to go to a shop and buy a bag of urea or DAP and apply it instead of preparing compost and then various green leaf manure and this and that, all farm practices. For that, it is making them very easy. So now, for that matter, we cannot withdraw the subsidy also in such a big country. All our farmers are totally dependent on fertilizers, and we are producing so much. It was just about 50 million tons in 1950s and all that. Now it's over 300 million tons. And if we have grown like this, it is because of good variety of seeds and then chemical fertilizers, pesticides. I agree. It was necessary at that time, because when the green revolution was brought, at that time the PL 480 was there, and then we were borrowing or getting food from US and various other countries. And that time I was in the college, agriculture college. We had to miss a meal. On Mondays, we have to miss a meal in the evenings because Lal Bahadur Shastri at that time was the Prime Minister, and there was an announcement that we should all help the nation to conserve the food grains and all that. That was the condition. At that time, in 1965, 66 and all that, we had to undergo that kind of situation. Now, we are surplus. We have always about 30-40 million tons in the warehouses as buffer stock. So we have produced, that's no problem. But overuse is the problem now. If you say that you use so much, for example, one state in India is huge amount of urea is used, 6 to 7 times than the average. Normally, if 70 or 80 kg per hectare, if you say, they are doing huge amount. The ratio is skewed now. NPK ratio is skewed now, and one state or two states are, because it is available in subsidy, they put that particular thing very high. So this is how the cost is increasing in all kinds of places, and then conserve and then reduce the cost of cultivation. That is why this organic farming has been introduced. But we also have choice now. Initially, international, there is one standard. International IFOAM has said something. Codex Alimentarius Commission also has suggested some, standard, so that the world trade can happen in harmony. So India also announced that in 2001 that NPOP will be on par with this IFOAM and Codex Alimentarius and all that, and then we separate that. But many people were saying that that's only for export, and some premium shops like retail chain and all that, they were also asking for NPOP certified products, and it was used. But people could not afford that certification cost and all that, and that's why they were asking for better remedies. And then came PGS system. PGS system gave an opportunity for local farmers to trade domestically. So that system has been given. Now the country is having another vertical that is called the National Certification for Natural Farming. Dr. Moni was also mentioning that natural farming Acharya Devvrat also has been telling, and Subhash Palekar has also been mentioning about this. Everywhere that natural farming is becoming more important. With that only, they would like to now, make 10 million farmers organic. 1 crore farmer organic. That is possible only through this kind of system. Maybe for export and all that, they have to find another way. But at least within the country, you can have safe food, number one. Number two, you can reduce your cost of cultivation. Unnecessarily, you don't have to spend on chemical fertilizers and pesticides. So these are all the advantages of organic farming. Now, I'm going into the principles and practices of organic farming straight. Next. What is organic farming? It's a system of agriculture designed to provide consumers with fresh, tasty, and authentic food by respecting natural life cycle system. In short, the production is natural in origin. That is, if I want to put nitrogen into the soil, I won't go to the shop and buy nitrogen urea, but I will only rotate the crop with the leguminous crop, which will fix the nitrogen. Or I will use a biofertilizer, kind of a rhizobium and all that, and treat it with the seed, which will inoculate that bacteria. These are all the natural cycles. To achieve this, organic farming relies on a number of objectives, principles, and common practices. Let's see what are those practices. And the main factor behind
just 1 minute. You can go to the previous slide. That just keep it for a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can move to the next one. Yeah, please.
Basically, our organic rule is just not, doing agriculture without chemical fertilizer and pesticide. Many people say, if you ask, are you doing organic agriculture? You'll say, yes, I'm doing organic agriculture. How are you doing? You ask him. You'll say, I don't use chemical fertilizer. I don't use chemical pesticide. I'm doing organic. That's all he thinks. But it's much more than that. What are all the principles behind organic agriculture? The principle of health, principle of ecology, principle of fairness, principle of care, and all these things have to be observed. Health of human beings, cattle, and all the diverse microbes, everything should be healthy. It should not be affected. Can we enlarge that? And the ecology also, all the surrounding things should not be polluted and it should be kept clean. Principles of fairness, the natural things which are available should be shared by the entire humanity. One should not, completely take and deprive others. So there should be fairness in using common resources like water. Use water conservatively and all that. That's fairness. And principle of care is you should also take all those ethical things like GMO, for example. Many people may not like GMO product in their food. In that case, you have to respect that. And these are all the principles of care. So these are all underlying principles for organic agriculture. Then this is very important slide. Status of rich and live organic soil. We always say my soil is very fertile. My soil is rich. What's the yardstick? For a cloth, you can measure it and say that 1 yard or 1 meter and all that. In the soil, if you say your soil is fertile, what is the yardstick? A fertile organic soil ideally should have the following. Organic carbon should be between 0.8 and 1.5%. If it is like in that range, it will be a fertile soil. But in India, in the last 60, 70 years, there is a report I read on the other day that it has come down to almost from 1 to 0.3. It has this is called degradation. Your soil carbon level has come down from 1 to 0.3. Our national average is about 0.3. Anywhere in Tamil Nadu or Andhra Pradesh or Karnataka, if I go and take a soil sample, it would be around 0.5, 0.6 only, unless it is very well maintained. Normal soil, I'm saying. That's because of the degradation, that we have not put more organic matter into the soil. That's why the organic carbon content. What is organic carbon content? All the fallen leaves, dead animals, everything, when decomposed, they form the organic matter. Soil, as you all know, that you can segregate into sand, silt, clay, and organic matter. Sand, silt, and clay are just minerals, part of rock material in various sizes, whereas organic matter is the life. The dead things have shed on the soil, which is decomposed, and then it is mineralizing. That is what is required. That is the food for the bacteria in the soil. And how much of bacteria or fungi there in the soil? Total microbial load, that is bacteria, fungi, and actinomycetes, should be above 1 into 10 to the power of 8 per gram of soil. That means 10 crores. 10 crore microbes should be there in 1 gram of fertile soil, right? If it is there, then your soil is fertile and it will get proper nutrition and the crop will yield properly. But since you have only 3% organic matter, 4% organic matter and all that, 0.4 and 0.3, you are not having that much of population, micro population. That is why crop production is affected. So you don't have to go to the market and buy urea and DAP for that. You feed the microbes in the soil. Whatever we are doing by compost application, green leaf application, oil cake application, organic fertilizer, all those things are feeding the microbes. And the microbes feed the plant. How do they do? Microbes do the job by symbiotically associating with the plant's roots. They require some food, they take it from the roots. In turn, they feed the roots. Because if you want milk, you feed the cow, right? You feed the cow and take the milk. In the same way, the bacteria and fungi and all these things, they feed the roots and take their food from them, right? So there are a lot of things in the soil, all the microbe, in the periodic table, we have found that there are about 118 elements or something like that. Out of that, about 94 elements are natural. Almost all the natural elements are taken by the plants one way or other. But what we have been told in the agriculture college and schools are that there are essential elements, 16 or 17, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, potash, calcium, magnesium, sulfur, and the 7 micronutrients or 8 micronutrients, all put together about 16 or 17 are essential. But there may not be essential, but very rarely they require. Like silica is not included in that. Silica is there, part of the plant. But because it is abundantly available, they don't mention it as essential element. It is there anyhow in the soil. Silica and then various other elements are also taken by the plant. So the natural cycle is that from these 94 elements, the plant takes whatever they require for their growth, and then they give you fruits and grains and vegetables, and when its job is over, they die and then return to the soil, either directly or through animals. The animals take the residues, they eat it, they take their nutrition, and the dung is deposited into the soil, which again returns to the soil, all the elements that has been taken. This is how the natural cycle is happening. That is the one factor about fertile soil. At least 3 to 5 earthworms should be there in a cubic foot of soil. 1 cubic foot, if you take 3 to 5, if it is there, that's an indicator that your soil is healthy. There should be enough quantity of small life forms and insects such as ants and other things. They are also boring into the soil and then bring air into the soil and then bring organic matter from top to bottom, bottom to top. All those things, the insects are also helping the soil in many ways. So it must be a living soil. Now this is organic farming. Organic farming mainly depends on crop rotation practices for efficient use of on-site resources like nitrogen fixing bacteria, etc. For that, crop rotation is a must. Once you take a maize crop this time, it takes away a lot of nitrogen from the soil. The next crop, if you put a pulse crop, it will deposit more thing. That is how the cycle goes on. So that is more sensible practice. One is taking, the other one is giving, like that. But it should not be the same monocrop, maize after maize. If you put that, the soil will be exhausted, and then the soil will not have much nutrients. So crop rotation is a very, very, very important practice. It's an organic management practice. You don't have to buy that, you have to do it. Then very strict limits on the use of synthetic chemicals. In this case, no chemicals are used in the soil. As I told you, chemicals are harming because it gets into our food system and causes diseases to us. It also kills the microbes and all that. And it is also incurring, the farmer incurs cost on that. So for these three reasons, that has to be eliminated. Using on-farm resources such as livestock manure for fertilizer or feed produced on the farm. These are the on-farm resources. You should not, spend money for all these things because livestock. On the day I was reading an article by Acharya Devvrat, the governor of Gujarat. Yes.
Himachal Pradesh.
Himachal he was having, but now he is Gujarat governor and is it okay. Himachal he was having Gurukul and all that he was having. There in that article he writes, cow dung has 1 gram of cow dung has got 300 crores of microbes. In soil, I told you 10 crores, fertile soil. But the desi cow, fresh cow dung, 1 gram will give you about 300 crores, and they all are going to bring in more nutrition to the crop, and you don't have to depend on outside inputs at all. This is the kind of thing. And what do the microbes do? The microbes fix the nitrogen from the atmosphere. Plant require nitrogen for producing amino acid, and amino acid is converted to protein. Protein becomes your pulses and meat and various other things. For that, the basic thing is nitrogen, but plant cannot take it directly. The bacteria in the soil takes the nitrogen from the air, fixes it as nitrate, and then feeds it to the root. Phosphate it requires, it is there in the soil, but the root cannot take it because it is in insoluble form. Most of it is fixed. So the bacteria solubilizes through its enzymes and all that and brings it to the roots, and then it takes. Then potash is there. We don't have to get all the way from Canada and Ukraine by spending so much money on shipping and the value of fertilizers. It's all there in your soil, and the mobilizing bacteria will mobilize that and bring it. And that's how it was done 50 years back. The only difference is 50 years back and now is a little bit more yield, okay, and then there is some convenience in application. That's all. For that, what is the cost? The cost is too much. That's what we have to rethink. So potash and magnesium, everything, there is an organism in the soil which will solubilize or bring it closer and then feed it to the thing. You are feeding the microbes and microbes feed this thing. Whereas in chemical farming, you are directly feeding the crop. Crop directly takes it. It is like you are giving saline injection or glucose injection to a patient in the hospital. Directly you are injecting, drip. That's how it is. Then choosing plant and animal species that are resistant to disease and adaptable to the local conditions. This is very, very important. Many people think that using high yielding or very high yielding sophisticated seeds at a very high cost is going to give them very good yield. Okay, you produced so much of tomatoes. What are you doing now? Production is more, demand is less. They are putting it on the roadsides because they get only 10 rupees, 5 rupees a kg and all that after producing so much. So production alone is not going to be the answer. productivity also, depending upon each crop, it all
Hello.
demand dependence.
From?
So choosing the seeds should be
I'm in a meeting. I'll talk
disease
to you later.
and climate adaptable. You take ragi in Karnataka or something like that, 2000 years it has been growing. There's not much of pest and diseases because it is adapted to the condition, the weather, the soil, and everything, and it doesn't get pests and diseases. The same, that is why we say in organic farming, instead of putting some kind of exotic seeds and inviting pests and diseases and then going to the market and buying pesticides, instead of that, you safeguard first. Select a seed which can resist diseases and pests, which can tolerate the local weather conditions and the soil. Sow them, and then you don't have expenses. And it's all nutritious and very good also. Probably people will argue that your productivity is a little less than all those advanced things. But you look at the cost also for that. That is where we have to make a compromise. Then raising livestock in open air system, providing organic feed and treating them as per practices appropriate to the livestock species. Most of the livestock should be allowed to graze open ground. You may have 5 acres of land. You can have a external fencing. That's all. But you don't put them into small cages. Poultry or animals should not be caged. It should be free roaming. It should have exercise, free air, and free grazing yard. In Europe and all that, there is a stacking rules and all that. If you want to have so many cattle, you must have so much of grazing land. That kind of rules are there. So we should all allow the animal to live in their natural way. Even breeding also in organic farming, the natural breeding is allowed, and the artificial insemination and all that is not allowed in organic farming. Okay, next. Soil and water conservation. Topsoil, that is 2 inch to 8 inch, that depth of soil contains organic matter and microorganisms. All the microorganisms which I was telling so far remains only in the top 8 inches soil. So that should not be washed off. That should not be lost. If there is a village having 300 acres, that 300 acres into 8 inch depth, that is the wealth of that village. Okay, the entire production comes from that 8 inch depth only in the 300 acres in that village, and you have to save it at any cost. How will you do that? Minimize tillage and plant tall trees around the field. Why? To reduce wind erosion. Wind should not carry away all these soils. You know how much time it takes to form soil? It takes about 300 years to form soil from rock. They have worked out that. So that 300 years of efforts will be lost within a minute if there is a strong wind. So it is our job to protect it by growing some tall trees and shrubs and other things. Then contour bunds and cover crops, that will arrest soil erosion due to floods, because contour bunds, when the water comes, it will just wash away all your topsoil. It should be arrested and kept within your farm. That's why you have to keep some contour bunds. That mulching the fields. Mulch the fields with biomass to conserve soil moisture and control weed growth. That will come in the next slide also. Okay, next. Management of temperature, that is biological mulch. Biological mulch is you take all the green leaves or dried leaves in your farm and then put it on the open fields. Don't expose it to the sun. It might take away all the moisture from the soil. Again, you have to irrigate. So now you can conserve water by mulching, number one. Number two, it will not allow the weeds to grow. So you save on herbicides. Unnecessarily, you need not spend money on herbicides. Even in turmeric fields in Meerut on the other day, I was seeing that people have a very ingenious practice of growing pilipesara along with the turmeric. They cover the whole field with the pilipesara green manure crop that covers the field, and it doesn't allow the weed to emerge. So, but the Pilipesara fixes the nitrogen to the soil. That's a leguminous crop, and it also conserves, moisture in the soil. So these are all local wisdom. Hundreds of local wisdom is there that in organic farming we have to bring it. Our scientists are one of the bright people, but they are now used for mostly chemical research and all that, because the companies which are engaged in chemical fertilizers and pesticides and seeds and GMO seeds and all that, they engage them by paying to the universities and all that, and you can't blame them. But that is the opportunity they get, and then they are doing their job all right. But if the government can put in a lot of money on these scientists to make all these local wisdoms, a lot of local wisdoms are there, which are very bright things, which has to be brought to light, and we have to use it completely. I read in one book on the other day, there is some cucurbit crop which was not flowering properly. They just put asafoetida powder near the root, and it is a cucurbit plant. It started flowering and bearing fruits. These are all local wisdom which they have been using thousands of years, and it's all there in Vriksha Ayurveda. How many people could convert that Vriksha Ayurveda into science? If you go and talk to people, we are doing organic farming and we are doing this and that, Amrita Karisal I'm using, Panchagavya I'm using. Immediately they ask, has it been scientifically validated? That's what. But thousands of years it has been used by the villagers. They are doing it. They are feeling, successful in that. But why should, you ask for that scientific validation? If that is required, now let's do it. Our scientific community should be put to this kind of researches, and the government should spend a lot of money on this R&D thing, to particularly in the input side. Input side, the farmers are exposed very much. They can enrich the soil easily with all this biomass and compost and various other things. But to protect the crop from pests and diseases is a challenge today, because they do not have, in chemical farming, they have for each and every pest they can name a pesticide. You just give it, and within minutes they drop down. But that kind of situation is not there in organic. In organic, what we say is ours is a preventive thing. We don't go for control of pests and diseases. We are trying to prevent it by using the right kind of seed, right kind of method of management and all that. But in case today, in the transition period, when only 2 million hectares are under organic and balance 138 million are non-organic, how to save their crop from the other fields? So they have to take some kind of remedy. So we have to advise them on various plant protection things. That's where we have to put more effort. Protection of life forms. Not only this kind of thing will also allow earthworms to live very comfortably. The more earthworms are there, the more fertile the soil would be, because earthworms have got one, that is a machine which produces almost like a DAP kind of thing. It consumes all the organic matter and then excretes with some kind of growth promoting hormone coated on that. When it comes to the soil, the roots enjoy that thing, and then they grow very well. That's why vermicompost is now becoming popular, because earthworm is such a good friend of farmer, and they harbor under this kind of mulches. So that kind of protection should be made. Next. Manuring and soil enrichment is crop rotation. I told you, practice crop rotation, and then improves the soil fertility and reduce the pest incidence by breaking pest life cycle. If you are growing the same crop year after year, the pest and disease, they take some kind of, the pests will go to cocoons or something like that, fall down to the soil, and it will wait for the next period for emerging as an adult. They will stay and wait for the next crop to come. The disease also, the fungal spores and all that, will wait for the next season to come. When the next season starts, the crop, the same pest and disease will emerge. But if you change the crop, their life cycle is broken. the previous crops pest cocoons, and then the spores, everything is spoiled, and it's a new crop which has come. They are not ready to eat that. That is another way of breaking the life cycle of pests and diseases. Then mixed cropping. This is a very important thing. In this slide also you can see how a farmer is having both jawar and pulses and alternate rows and all that. That gives it's an insurance against failure of one crop. If one crop fails, at least the other crop will give something. And then in this kind of situations, mixed cropping is an excellent thing, and it gives additional income, and it also balances the nutrition in the soil. One crop is taking the nutrition, the other crop is depositing the nutrient, and it's a wonderful arrangement in the nature. Mixed cropping is one of the best solutions. Then green manuring and cover crops. Green manuring in the paddy fields and all that, they don't have much choice to go for alternate crops. Most of them go for monocropping only, because their soil condition or the waterlogging condition does not allow growing other crops. So at least they should enrich their soil by way of not only compost and vermicompost and all that, but also by putting back some green manures. They can grow Sesbania, Filipesera, and all these kind of crops. 45 days afterwards, when you put it back into the soil, plow it back into the soil, they all add about 30-40 kgs of nitrogen into the soil. Now 20 kg of nitrogen in each acre is added. It is almost equal to one bag of urea. These are natural, and not only the nitrogen, it also improves the soil structure. The soil structure improves, and then the more aeration, more water holding capacity, and all those benefits are available. So green manuring is one of the wonderful things in organic farming. Now, so far I said about on-farm organic inputs. There are also off-farm inputs. Off-farm oil cakes you are bringing. You can bring in bone meal and all that, fish meal. All these things are brought from outside, and then you can apply that. That is also allowed, but it is allowed in organic farming. It is not allowed in the natural farming. In the natural farming, it's all on-farm only, because they don't want any expenses to the farmers. Let them manage it with their own resources. Let them not go and spend money on oil cakes and bone meals and all that. Although it is allowed in organic for exportable products and various other organic certifications, this is all allowed. Next. Then biofertilizers, another kind. For you have lot of microbes like Rhizobium, Azotobacter, Azospirillum, phosphate solubilizing bacteria, potash mobilizing bacteria, Pseudomonas. It's all available in the soil. But in case if you want to add more, if the soil is in the 0.3%, 0.4% status of organic matter, you want to add more and then inoculate them. It is inoculation, like we make curd. For making curd, you just put a little bit of buttermilk into the milk, and then the milk becomes curd. In the same way, in the soil, you can inoculate these bacteria either directly, or you can mix it with manure, compost, vermicompost, and 1 ton compost. You take it, 1 packet of this phosphate solubilizing bacteria or azotobacter, you mix it, sprinkle water, cover it with some kind of thing, keep it for a day or two, and then you spread it in the field. Then all these things will multiply in millions, and then they will go and help the soil, and that will be enriched. So this is all available, and it is available allowed in the organic and not in the natural farming. Efficiency of such microbial formulation is greater where there is no chemical use. If you are putting chemical and this put together, chemical may kill some of these bacteria. Hence, it is perfect fit for organic cultivation. And you can also do seed treatment. Take 200 gram of each Azotobacter, Azospirillum, Rhizobium, PSB in 300 ml of water, mix thoroughly, pour the slurry in 10 to 12 kg of seed and mix it by hand. Dry the treated seed under shade and sow immediately. For acidic and alkaline soils, use 1 kg of slate lime or gypsum powder. This is a way by which you can prevent nitrogen fixation in the early stage itself. The Acetobacter and all these things will help. You can also do this for pest and disease protection also by adding a little bit of trichoderma and various other things. Seed-borne diseases can be arrested during the growth stage itself. Seed treatment is a very good and very cheap method which can be adopted in organic farming. Vijamrut is one preparation for this. Instead of going for biofertilizers and biopesticides, you can make in your own farm. This is for natural farming area. 5 kg of cow dung in a cloth bag and dip it in water. Soak in 500 gram lime in 1 liter of water in a separate tank. Allowed for 12 to 16 hours. Slaked lime. And then squeeze cow dung extract from A plus lime water plus cow urine 5 liter. Virgin soil. Why virgin soil? Virgin soil is the soil that is not treated with anything, like soil in the bund, soil near under the tree or some forest area. That virgin soil has got more variety of microbes. So you are inoculating that also into this. All these things you mix it, inoculate the mixture in incubate this for 8 to 12 hours, filter the preparation, use this Vijamrut for seed dressing. This is what natural farmer can use instead of biofertilizers. Then the same solution can be dipped, can be used for seedling dip also. When you have taken out the paddy seedlings from the nursery and when before planting, you just soak it there. For paddy, make a bed 2 meter by 1.5 meter into 0.15 meter is the height of water. In the field, fill it with 5 centimeters of water and add 2 kg of azospirillum, PSB, and dip the roots of the seedlings in this bed for 8 to 12 hours and then transplant. It will give very good, nutrition for the crop. Soil application of biofertilizer, as I told you, 2 kg of Acetobacter, azospirillum plus 2 kg of PSB required. Mix 2 types of biofertilizers in 2 liters of water separately. Sprinkle this suspension on 2 separate heaps of 50 kg compost. Mix the 2 heaps separately and leave for incubation overnight. After 12 hours, mix 2 leaves together. This is a method by which you can properly inoculate these biofertilizers. Okay, next. Soil application of the same thing. Actually, I went to Ghana. I was seeing a 16,000 acre farm. I took some seeds of black gram seed from Tamil Nadu, and that was a virgin soil. I have sown that black gram. It has come luxuriously because so much of organic matter was there. It was uncultivated virgin soil. It has come. These boys who are doing this compost application, they are doing. This compost was prepared by me in that farm by collecting all the cow dung and then green leaf and dry leaf and all that, and we made a lot of compost. And we also encouraged the laborers to make in their own houses or somewhere, bring it to the farm and get the money for that. We produced, and these boys are spreading that manure which we produced in that farm. So like this soil application, you mixed it with some chemical biofertilizers and use it. Next. Jivamrut. This is one of the wonderful preparation because what you are doing in Jivamrut is mix cow dung 10 kg, cow urine 10 liters. Cow dung should be fresh. Cow urine can be 10 to 15 days old also. But cow dung has got more microbes. And then with that 2 kg of jaggery. Why do you give jaggery? Because jaggery has got glucose. Glucose has got carbon. The carbon is the food for the microbes. So you are feeding them. they will multiply immediately 2 kg. And then pulse grain also, pulse grain also, it has got amino acids in that. And forest soil 1 kg and 200 liter water. If forest soil is not available within your field, if there is under the tree or uncultivated area, if it is there, you take some soil, or on the bund you can take some soil and do it. Ferment for 2 days. Stir the solution 3 times a day. When you stir it, you make that preparation very uniform. Use in 1 acre with irrigation water, or use as foliar spray. I tell you, I have seen this wonderful thing in Andhra Pradesh, in Andhra Pradesh, Chittoor district. I went to a farm. He was having just 1 acre of land. In that 1 acre of land, he has got a fencing, and there are trellis and all that. He has prepared the land, cultivated the land, made rows, and then in the row he has put some muskmelon seeds, and then alternate crops side by side. He put some maize, pulses, and all that as a mixed crop. And on the border, the trellis, he put some cucurbits like ridge gourd, bitter gourd, and all that he has planted. Everything was there. And then every week he will give this solution, Jivamrita, 200 liter barrel. He will prepare with cow dung, cow urine, jaggery, pulse powder, and a little soil and all that he will prepare. And along with irrigation, he will just connect it. That's all he was giving, nothing else. And he has got 20 tons of muskmelon. At that time, 1 ton was selling at 20,000 rupees. So he got 4 lakhs. I couldn't believe. It was in Andhra Pradesh. In Andhra Pradesh, I was earlier selling pesticides and fertilizers while I was in Tata Rallis. Huge amount of chemical fertilizers and pesticides I've sold. And these people are not satisfied with anything less than that. That kind of situation has now changed. People have adapted to organic farming, particularly natural farming. This is natural farming only. It is not organic also. It is only on their own they have prepared Jivamrut only. And only thing what he has bought is seed. That muskmelon seed was about 13,000 rupees or something like that. And then some ploughing and all that for tractor he has paid. That's all. And irrigation, that's all. There is not much of expense. His total expense was about 40,000 rupees per acre. But he got 4 lakhs rupees. And 40,000 he spent. For that 40,000 also he got it from the cucurbits which has grown on the trellis. That vegetable has given him that 40,000 rupees, and this was net profit. I couldn't believe this. I went along with some newspaper reporters and all that, and I saw that. I made a report in my weekly, our ICCOA magazine also. I wrote an article about that. So like that, these are all naturally happening. Only when you see that you will believe it. If you just read or listen to this kind of PowerPoint presentations, you may not be convinced, I'm sure. But once you see 1 or 2 land, some success stories if you see, you will be convinced. Next. Panchagavya is another good. This is a thing which has been told in our Vriksha Ayurveda and various other old wisdom. Mix cow dung 5 kg, cow urine 3 liters, cow milk 2 liters, curd 2 liters, ghee 1 kg, and close the pot with a cloth and ferment for 7 days. Stir twice a day. It will have a very bad odor initially, but in the course of time it will settle down. Dilute 3 liters of Panchagavya in 100 liters of water and spray over soil. 20 liter Panchagavya is needed per acre for soil application along with irrigation water. You can also keep it as a spray on the crop, and it will also protect the crop from a lot of diseases. Next. The same thing, Dasgavya also is there. Instead of 5 things, they have also added here tender coconut, banana, and various other things. So ingredients like cow dung 5 kg, cow urine 3 liters, cow milk 2 liters, curd 2 liters, cow desi ghee 1 kg, sugarcane. Why desi ghee? Desi ghee has got its own properties. Again, that has to be validated. We have seen, we are paying a high amount of money. In my house, I am using desi ghee, and the aroma is so nice, and It's so, I don't know where all these things are coming from. You have to experience it to believe it. 1 kg sugarcane juice, and then tender coconut water, 3 liter and banana, then banana paste of 12 fruits, and toddy. Toddy, if it is not available, grape juice, 2 liters. Mix cow dung and ghee in a container and ferment for 3 days with intermittent stirring. Add rest of the ingredients on the 4th day and ferment for 15 days with stirring twice daily. This is a preparation which is becoming more popular now. The formulation will be ready in 18 days. Sugarcane juice can be replaced with 500 gram jaggery in 3 liters of water. In case of non-availability of toddy or grape juice, 100 grams of yeast powder mixed with 100 gram jaggery and 2 liters of warm water can also be used. For foliar spray, 3 to 4 liters dasgavia is diluted with 100 liters of water. For soil application, 20 liters dasgavia is sufficient for 1 acre. It can also be used for seed treatment. Now, this is what I earlier explained, on-farm preparation of growth promotion and plant protection.
Dorairaj sir, you have to slightly speed it up. Okay.
Yeah, I think this one I have already said, so I am skipping that. This is on-farm preparation of Sanjeevak, another preparation. Anyhow, all these things will be available in YouTube. You can read this. This is a local preparation, on-farm preparation. Next is on-farm Amritapani. Next is on-farm. How to do that is there. You can read this. On-farm preparation, concentrated poultry manure. Poultry manure should not be applied directly into the soil, and it has to be composted. Why it should not be applied directly? Sometimes, if they had given vaccine and all that, it would have got some kind of microbes which have become resistant to vaccine. That kind of thing should not spoil the soil, and it should not contaminate the microbes in the soil. That's why. Next, pest management. Now, so far we talked about nutrition. Now, pest management, there are cultural methods by hand picking, mechanical, remove affected plants and all that. Next, pest management through traps and lures and all that. Pheromone traps can be used. These are all available. We can use this. And then pest management for biological alternatives. You can bring in lot of predators. Lot of predators or insects are there which eat other insects and pests. And it, if you take a ladybird beetle, it can eat about 40 to 50 aphids in a day. In a day, each beetle can eat so much. These are all natural thing. It has been established. So we should encourage these things. To encourage this, we should have your field with a lot of flowering plants, hedges, and place for natural enemies to come and sit and harbor. If you prepare that, then all these predators and parasitoids will come and stay. These are all the insects, helpful insects. Next, biodiversity to attract beneficial insects, to repel. What are all things? Attractive plants you should have, attract crops you should have, repellent crops, barrier or guard plants. These are all selection. In your field, you can plant in one side this kind of crop in 1 cent or something like that. Next, these are all the attractant plants. Next, these are all the trap plants. They trap the pests. Next, neem seed kernel extract is one of the best and cheapest pesticide. Neem has got azadirachtin. That azadirachtin can kill lot of pests, and it has got quite a useful thing. And how to prepare neem seed kernel extract is there. 5 kg of neem seed if you take, you can prepare this and use this, and it is not very expensive. You can prepare and keep it for future use also. Next, that's all I think. On-farm preparation of other pest control thing is Brahmastra. Then Agni Astra is using chilies, garlic, neem leaf and all that paste, and then use that for controlling pest, on-farm preparation of pest, neem astra, only neem leaf you can make it into a paste and put it in the water and then spray that. Next, on-farm preparation of pest control. Thus, Ferni is another different variety of 10-leaf preparation. Liquid herbal pesticides, and then biopesticides. If in organic agriculture, you can go for some kind of biopesticide microbes that are available in the market. It's all prepared in the laboratories and all that. Next, these are Pseudomonas, Bavaria, Verticillium. All these things are insecticides made out of natural microbes. This is Bodo mixture. This is the last slide. Bodo mixture has got the combination of copper oxychloride and lime. It is allowed in organic agriculture, but to a limit. We should not go beyond 4 kg per year or per acre or something like that. This can be used for phytophthora and various other diseases. You can use Bodo mixture. That's all. That's all about my presentation about organic farming. Thus, what I try to say that is there are hundreds of ways by which you can double the income of farmers, but organic farming is one among those many things. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And you've done a lot of. Just 1 minute. You can come to the come out of the presentation mode.
Presentation, I'll leave it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. So thank you very much. You've done a real talk which has made the topic understood and also relevant for the present situation. You talked about a complete value chain, and I'm very happy that today in order to increase the farm income, you have given various steps and also practical experiences, and in association with your organization, the Shobhit Institute of Engineering Technology, will let us try to bring out and some sort of courses to train rural youths to adopt organic farming. Thank you very much. I would like to thank you. Just to be online, and Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Neeraja Prabhakar, the Vice Chancellor of the University, Shri Kota Lakshman, Telangana State Horticulture University, Siddipet, is also watching your presentation, your talk. Mr. Manish, can you put Honorable Vice Chancellor to the foreground? Mr. Manish? Madam, welcome to you, and thank you very much for your interest, and you are watching the program from 11 o'clock onwards. And Mr. Dorairaj, Kuppurangam, he made a what you call this very informative and practical address on organic farming methods and practical methods and the relevance. Now, I would like to hear from you. What is your way forward? How you would like to take it up? And you are the first you can say that the country's first woman vice chancellor of the university, and we interacted in the month of November at Vijayawada in an international conference, and from that day onwards, I have been seeing your participation in various programs. Thank you very much, and I would like to hear from you and also the participants. And what is your takeaway from today's presentation? Today is the 111th webinar on the series, National Webinar Series on Doubling Farmers' Income by 2022. Over to you, madam.
Okay, sir, thank you for my introduction, and thank you very much for inviting me for this webinar. I keenly listened to the Mr. Dorairaj garu, So I am back to the actually 2000, uh, yeah, related my research work or my different that conversations during my teaching with the students also. I used to tell the same, this practically these things. Since then forth from 2000 onwards actually want to share my practical experience as well as its importance of this natural farming as well as organic farming, especially in horticulture. Actually, as I said by that, sir, natural farming is not involving the much the financial burden on the part of a farmer, utilizing the natural resources existing in the ecosystem around them. That is the main concept. Thereby, they can improve not only the saving the ecosystem, and they can improve the present ecosystem, upgrading to the next level, and as well as reducing the cost of the production. And the foremost important thing is avoiding the pollution, both soil, water, as well as the environmental, and reducing the release of the emission of the greenhouse gases. All these things involved. The second one is the organic farming is a little bit financial burden, like procurement of the natural materials, like whatever that oil cake or I don't know. I will suggest that green leaf manuring in both the cases, they have to spend some amount, but it will comes under like natural farming, because they are going to add with the least amount of cost involved, and much benefit to the soil by improving the soil texture, especially adding lot of organic matter. As you know that the present existing organic matter is less than 0.5%, and this can be tremendously improved by incorporating a forestry component as well as the horticulture tree component. And it is benefit to the farmer in both the ways, as I said by that mixed cropping system, which involving the perennial tree component, which will continuously supply the some of the benefit, like you can like for a leaf fodder and fruits, and fuel, that is wood, dead wood also for the farmer. That is the benefit by involving the perennial tree species in this one. And the another one is actually, yeah, if the one crop failure also, they will get the minimum income from this horticulture component, especially perennial tree component, as well as they can protect their the existing field from the hot winds, that as they act as a wind breaks, as well as some of the like saving the soil, and the erosion, and the water saving also, because it provide the partially shade, all these things. And yeah, I considered deeply that actually involving the forestry component is it is a nutrient recycling system as well as a closed nutrient system, because it is gone adding the organic matter through the leaf sheddings, as well as the material of the that root component, because it widely spreads its root system. And it won't be any there won't be any competition from the regular either field crops or annual crops or seasonal crops, both field as well as the vegetables, because they absorb or get the nutrients from the very deep layers. That is the one thing benefit. And as well as sir said, so even because they will bring the deep nutrients from the deep layer of the soil, from the above the near to the soil, so that made available to the animal species. That is the one more important thing. Then actually, what you told, all the things like a crop diversification and involving the biofertilizers, as well as using the cover crops. Especially using of that is a common practice in most of the horticulture crops, like not only the turmeric but also the tuber crops, like ams, and this one using the cover crops like cowpea as well as pilipestra, which are actually spreading type, and that will protect from the further spread of the weeds. It will control for about 2 3 months. And further, if they incorporate before the just flowering, it adds the organic matter. If the farmer is allowed to grow up to the flowering and fruiting, that means farmers will get the some income from the this cover crop, being a leguminous crop, and also adds a enriched organic matter to the soil. This is the actual age-old practice, as I said, which are missing in the present day cultivation aspects. And farmers are not, the youth farmers, they are not aware of this ITK technologies, engineers technologies, that has to be bring to their natives through the extension system. So we in the Telangana, we have Rate Vedikas and different the training programs are going on. So educating the farmers more of how to judicially use the chemical fertilizers, reducing that one, and more of how to increase the usage of like biofertilizers and biofungicides, and as a part of it, actually even for control of because as I said that cucurbits, yes, in cucurbits, that is the fruit fly is the problem, and mango fruit fly is the problem. In spite of going of use of the much of the chemical, so for control them, so they can go for the different kinds of measures, right from the trap crops, and for a spodoptera, which is a multifagous pest, so use of the trap crops, and as well as going for the using of that pheromone traps, and starting from the actual deep summer plowing is a much more benefit, which will control the most of the pest diseases that flora and fauna will be dead of because of the high temperatures, and as well as the weed seed also somewhat they dead, and that their population will be kept very low in the subsequent the farming situation. That is a very important one which is missing nowadays, because of maybe continuous growing or crop rotations, so without giving the gap, maybe farmers are skipping this one. But my strong recommendation is going for the summer deep ploughings are very important. And coming to our the one of the important thing related to our horticulture, especially vegetable crops, is the that is soil solarization of the soil, that nursery beds before growing or cultivating, growing the nursery of vegetables. Almost it will control most of the almost 90% of the pests and diseases, especially the damping of all these things. So this is what you said is that is uses of the, yes, clear cutly it was mentioned by a speaker that uses of that borax mixture is allowed in both the farmings, but preparation method is not much aware in the present farmer community. It is age old practice and very effective one, but it is usage is a little bit missing. They are readily going for uses of the COC, that is copper oxychloride. So where, so some of the things, one is the excess use of the fertilizers. I'll tell that in 1960s, for every usage of 1 kg of NPK, the outcome of the is 25 kg of the food material, what that may be cereals or this one. But coming to the present situation, that is the by the 2020-21, the every 1 kg usage of NPK, only we are getting the return 6 kg produce only. That shows the response of the plant is reducing much. That means is the soil is missing with the living organisms that is there, as I said by you. So there is a much more care we had to take it. They like save soil, the campaign by the Sadhguruji also, that we had to think of very seriously. How to protect the natural flora and fauna in existing soil is very important. That can be achieved only by reducing the these chemical fertilizers, and by adding the organic matter, that may be either by the FIM or oil cakes or the green manure or the green leaf manure. So, or like as you said, the poultry, goat, sheep. So, as apart from that, this Bijamrutam, all these things, these are the these will play very vital role in improving our soil condition by improving the living organisms. So, we are assigning this kind of research works to our students also, to work out the actually the real the effect of these natural components scientifically, how they are working. That is the main motto for going the research work. So these are the my few comments. It
Yes,
is
yes.
highly required actually, the organic farming. Now, I won't suggest, as I said before, Sri Lanka is facing the negative effect because suddenly shifting to the organic farming. But since last 20 years, we are just talking about the organic farming, and slowly we are bringing the awareness among the farmers. Only the thing is, it has to be put into the practice. That is by yeah, convincing the farmers how it is benefit to the our environment, as well as to get the nutritional food material, pesticide free, and chemical free food material. That is very very important nowadays, not only for our regular community at India level, but for export also. For export also, everyone is asking, preferring this pesticide free material and healthy material. So we are now talking about all these days of increasing the productivity. Now we are concentrating on the apart from the productivity, also the quality of the material, quality of the food material, the nutritional quality is very very important. So in these aspects, so I'm
Is
thanking the
is
organizers for giving this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Honorable Vice Chancellor, and you had time to participate, and I thank you very much. And it's a very important message, and a message comes from Honorable Vice Chancellor of a very important university from Telangana, SK, Kondar,
Yes, Sri
Shri
Kondalakshmi
Konda
Telangana.
Lakshman, Telangana State Horticulture University. Sittipet is a very important message to the farming community and consumers, and also the rural youth and the research students. It's in the speaker when he was talking, and he said that we have to unearth all the local wisdom which the farmers are deploying and employing for centuries together. And this is very important. And that is the reason only that, since I was part of the Dr. Ashok Dalwai committee report on doubling farmers' income by 2022, I, chaired 2 volumes, Digital Technology and Agriculture, Volume 12B. There we put it 3 categories of farming: smart irrigated farming, smart rainfed farming, and smart tribal farming. And smart tribal farming, that it's a sustainable farming, which we have forgotten. And that's why we thought that let us also take a pilot project. And I also in Telangana, we also with an NGO, we have identified the we are trying to work in the cluster of 10 tribal village in Suryapet. And I
Oh,
will also request you to associate some faculty members to help us, and also
yes.
weekly meetings we would like to have it. It is We have initiated such a cluster of 10 tribal village in Gujarat, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Kerala. And it
True,
is
sir.
very important, aspect. And then make a presentation to, after achieving, then make a presentation to our honorable president of India, who comes from a tribal community. It is We should we should make a presentation to our honorable president. But in this correction, when I was talking 2 weeks back, Mr. Dorairaj Kuppurangam, and he is also my other mentor, Dr. Ashok Kumar. And I was quite impressed in the way in which he has been working for more than 50 years in this area. I thought that, why don't you address? And it's very nice that he was able to find time. And today he was able to deliver a talk. And it is very clear that, from his vast experience, step by step, he talked about it. And it is also, it is very important that a person of eminence like you has also joined. And I want that if all the honorable vice chancellor of the State Agricultural University join in this program, I think not only doubling the farmers' income, we can make the farmers of this country to adopt technology, digital technology and agriculture technology, and they make them as a millionaire. And you can see that one village in Maharashtra, and it is where the Padma Shri Papat Rao, Powerji, he made that village is completely climate resilient agriculture and water resource efficiency. And he made 99% of the village people are millionaires, and the productivity increased. And and that's how the as a person, a farmer cricketer, and he became the a postgraduate becoming a panchayat sarpanch, and then he's doing wonders. And that's how that this is we have to bring in technology adoption and natural farming, organic farming, and back to our rural area. But in that way, today's topic is very important. And let us join together. Shobhit Institute of Engineering and Technology is the first university to have a Center for Agricultural Informatics and E-Governance Research Studies and Center for Agribusiness and Disaster Management Studies. We launched MTech in Agricultural Informatics program to train agricultural science graduate, engineering students, postgraduate students to get into agriculture through digital technology, and to adopt what is recommended by Dr. Ashok Dalwai Committee report on doubling farmers' income by 2022. And many people asked me that, Professor Moni, now 2023 has come. What will be your, webinar title? I told him that we are living in an era, before common era, zero and common era. And this is, this will be like this, that 2022 is the landmark. Then now all the webinars that Government of India came with the, recommendations, and are we operationalizing those recommendations? And every block level agriculture officer, district level agriculture officer, irrespective of the the party which is ruling the state, they are supposed to operationalize the recommendation of doubling farmers committee report. And since I thought that as a former DGNIC and a man worked in IT and agriculture for more than 35 years, I thought that let me propagate. That's why the webinar series, I done it. I conducted 2 webinar series, one with, under the National Webinar Series on Doubling Farmers' Income by 2022. Another is with African Asian Rural Development Organization, ARDO, which is headquarters in Delhi, having 16 African countries and 15 Asian countries. We do an international webinar series on open source digital technology towards, self-reliant India. That also I completed 108 webinars. So these are all both agriculture and agriculture technology and digital technology, and whatever we produce. And ARDO organization is ready to undertake technology transfer to their member countries. So these 2 efforts, I am doing it. I am very happy. Today is a very important day. And Mr. Dorairaj, Kuppurangam, you have listened to the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Madam
Yes.
Vinaraja Prabhakar. Now I would like to hear from you, that is, what is your way forward, how we should work together, not only with the Shobhit Institute of Engineering and Technology, deemed to be university, and also with Sri Konda Lakshman, Telangana State Horticulture University. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now government is giving so much of thrust on this kind of natural farming. I think we should take it forward and then explain this to all the rural area through all kinds of media. So we can write articles, we can take some kind of films, and then this is how it has to be propagated. Quite a lot of concessions are also they have announced. I have read this on the natural farming certification system also. I have seen that is very, very practical, because in international certification it requires 2 years to 3 years conversion period from non-organic to organic, whereas in the present system, they say 6 months is enough to transit from non-organic to organic. Farmers will like it because they don't want to wait for 3 years and all that. This is for domestic market. If it is international, you have to oblige their rules and regulations. But here, at least we know that our organic method is so foolproof, and then we are using all this kind of organic material as manures and pesticides. So there is a very good scope, and that 1 crore thing may be achieved with this kind of assistance from the government also. We should take full advantage of that. We should work together. Wherever you require, you please let us make me know also. I will also participate, and then we will do together propagation of this message to all the farmers.
Very nice, Mr. Dorairaj, and I will also try to propagate in the pilot project. We have taken it up in under smart tribal farming, and last week I got a call from the Tirunelveli district collectorate, the assistant collector. He talked to me, Mr. Gokul. He said that, Prof. Moni, we have been listening, we have been watching your programs. Can you help us in working for creating a project smart tribal farming in Kani tribes? That's the interest which is coming up, and and I'm going to visit the Tirunelveli district on 20th, and there is one engineering college. Now they are establishing a center for agricultural informatics and e-government research studies in the Department of Computer Science to adopt digital technology in agriculture. This is the first engineering college to have a center for agricultural informatics and e-government research studies, and that under computer science department to convey message that your technology which you are doing on digital technology, it should go to the farming community, and that is very important. And also I'm very happy that I got requirements from the Vice Chancellor Samrajanagara University in Samrajanagar in Karnataka. They are also going to establish Center for Agricultural Informatics and E-Governance Research Studies to launch MTech in Agricultural Informatics and also related projects. And I will also request, Honorable Vice Chancellor of, the SK LT, Horticulture University also to establish the Center for Agricultural Informatics, E-Governance Research Studies, because India, with more than 400 agriculture commodities and 365 days of sunshine and 127 agroclimatic zone, we can produce what the whole world wants it. And if we adopt organic methods and also natural farming, and our produce from India will be the highly demanded food producers and throughout the world. And we have to have a complete value chain, each commodity value chain to be integrated with the global value chain. Even in India, we have got 28 states, and even the banana varieties which is coming from the down south of Tamil Nadu state is not even available in northern parts. In my own district, I come from Kanyakumari district, we have about 25 varieties of banana. It doesn't even see the capital of Tamil Nadu or even see the capital of India. And this is why international trade also, our agriculture commodities has to go in a completely processed manner. And this is very important. Our agriculture waste we generate to the tune of $20 billion per annum, and post-harvest loss is about $19 billion. And it is very important that post-harvest loss reduction and innovation in agriculture waste to wealth. It is very important. This is where all our ICR institution, agricultural university, agriculture colleges, and all 4,500 engineering colleges in the country who teach, who has all this other interdiscipline, technology discipline, and 43,000 higher education institutions who teach biology, chemistry, physics, mathematics, computer science, also to adopt agriculture as an important use case for their research work. Then only we can help 145 million operational holders, and out of which 90% are small and marginal farmers. And we have to help them. And small and marginal farmers are the food security network, and they give the food security, and they have to also grow that is the reason only I am very happy. I'm in the process nowadays. I have been asked by Krishi Jagran Agro Media Company that they would like to launch an Richest Farmer of India Award in 2023. I also requested Honorable Vice Chancellor to participate. She has made one of her faculty members to join. Every day I'm discussing with 5 to 6 experts how to define this one richest farmer of India 2023. Lot of discussions have come today. The meeting is supposed to be from 11:30 to 12:30, but I put it to 2 to 3 because I don't want to have this webinar series to be shifted. And this is also another thing is coming, that how to make our farmer conscious about their production and they should make money out of it. So let us have lot of awards, like for film world, they go to Oscar award to America for anything related to agriculture, and the whole world should come to India. And that is what now I'm in the thick process of defining that parameters, how to have the selection criteria and so on and so forth. And it is very important. Organic farming will bring the necessary amount of wealth to the for our farmers, and rural India can shine, smile, and roar. And rural economy is very important, and agriculture is very important. And I thank the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Madam Neeraja Prabhakar, and also our guest speaker, Mr. Dorairaj Kuppurangam, and for this wonderful presentation, participation, discussion for the last 2 hours. And let us work together. Let us create an action plan. Let us show the whole, 770 districts in the country, and also 31 member countries of ORDO. We should do that. And with this, and I would like to thank our Honorable Chancellor of the Shobhit Institute of Engineering and Technology, deemed to be university, and Honorable Vice Chancellor, faculty members, and participants, and for watching this program. And this type of webinar, it is motivating a lot of people to register for PhD on the topic. A lot of NGOs are looking into this webinar series. And this webinar series, this tube goes to Prime Minister's Office, Niti Aayog, and also Ministry of Agriculture, the policy makers. And that's how I have been, this university and myself are doing this important activity for the betterment of our rural India, our farming community. With this, I would like to thank Honorable Vice Chancellor, Madam Neeraja Prabhakar, and our guest speaker, Dorairaj Kuppurangam. And with this, we will close the webinar and leave the studio. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.